Welcome to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm in Pittsburgh, and I am jacked up because I'm here with Hardhead. Hardhead, how you doing? Thanks for having us here in Pittsburgh, buddy.
Hey, Nick, I want to thank you for being here. We're all excited to have you down here.
Are you kidding? I'm excited to be in Pittsburgh. This is one of the cities I've always wanted to come to. I've never had the opportunity. I got a lot of respect for Steelers fans. Don't get mad at me in Cleveland tomorrow, but I do. I really do. I mean, Steelers fans travel. I mean, if you guys get tickets, you go.
We go. In fact, my girlfriend and I, we're part of a great group. We go every year. We've been to the great city of Cleveland twice, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Buffalo. We take 2 bus loads, and we take over the town. Steeler Nation rocks.
Did you notice he said it was a great city, Cleveland? Remember that. Cleveland does rock. Okay, so in Pittsburgh, we actually went already. We went to Primanti Brothers. We had a sandwich. It was absolutely fantastic, as good as advertised. What else do I got to eat? If I got one day in Pittsburgh, I got to hit Primanti's. What else do I got to eat here?
You know, that's a big question because there's so much ethnicity here in Pittsburgh. I grew up in Turtle Creek, and we have a great place called Amel's in Rankin. It's on TV a lot. You go to Vincent's Pizza Park. They just reopened. I mean, Nick, this is a legendary town for food. One day doesn't cut it, brother. You got to come back.
We're going to have to random road trip here, and we are down, obviously, by the river. What river is this right behind us, Brian?
This would be the Allegheny. I am not sure. We have 3 rivers, the Allegheny, the Monongahela, and Ohio. And what they form is the Point, which is over to our right, which is a beautiful place. This is a place you can spend all day and not see enough. It's really a beautiful town.
You know what? And really, and I'm not just in this because I'm in Pittsburgh and he's a scary-looking guy. This is a really cool – man, that would hurt when you hit me. This is a really cool city. You got the bridges in the background. We got Heinz Field. We're going to get Smokey and we're going to talk some news. Also, we're going to introduce Jen, who is now the first female writer at Razzball.com. We're also going to check out Pittsburgh PNC Park. And, of course, we're going to Jerome Bettis' Grill tonight. We're going to draft. You ready to draft tonight?
I'm ready to draft tonight. They're going to break my cherry tonight live on TV. This is my first real draft. But I want to ask everybody in Pittsburgh to check Nick out. Go to the Razzball site. This guy's an awesome guy. He's for real. He's coming to Pittsburgh. Has a lot of energy.
Hold on. Let me give you the $20 for saying that. All right, we're going to go to Jerome Bettis' Grill. We're going to drink Iron City beer. I heard that's the beer you got to drink in Pittsburgh.
It's the beer you have to drink in Pittsburgh. My mom was a huge IC Light fan. You know, I go to her gravesite every year on her birthday, and I have a bottle with her. I tell you what, Pittsburgh's just a great town. Duquesne beer, Rolling Rock's no longer with us, but now all the craft beers, Rivertown, I got a shout out to my guys. A great craft beer, great place to go eat. You know, just so much to check out here. You got to come back, brother.
Absolutely. And you know what? We are going to be working on some random road trips, and I think Pittsburgh is one we got to come to. We got to party. And this is where Mr. Rogers is from. Mr. Rogers is from here.
Hey, we grew up with Mr. Rogers.
All right, he is Hardhead. I am Nick Capozzi. This is Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. We're going to be right back. We got a lot going on in Pittsburgh.
Check them out.
Welcome back, Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network in beautiful downtown Pittsburgh. This is the Roberto Clemente Bridge, and I'm here with Smoke Show, but also Jen Warner, the first girl writer ever at Razzball.com. How you doing today, Jen?
I'm good, Nick. How are you?
I'm very good. Welcome to the family. So you are actually going to be, let's just say, you're taking over Jam Cram, so we got to work on a name for that. Have you thought of any yet?
I have a couple ideas, but they're a little dirty, so I'm not really sure where.
This is family-friendly television, so we probably won't do that. But, Smokey, what about you? Got any ideas that might not be too crazy?
Anything that doesn't actually mean the same thing, like jam or cram.
Does it technically mean the same thing?
They are synonymous, yes.
Wow, I am loving Pittsburgh. See, that's how much I know about English. I'm from Montreal. My first language isn't English, it's not French, it's Montrealer. So I'm having a good time here in Pittsburgh. This is a really, really cool city. We got to come back here. So what's going on with the Pirates this year? Not to ask you a completely vague question, but I figured because we're standing across from PNC Park, you know, what's happening with the Pirates? Testing your baseball knowledge.
I don't know. You know, they started off, they were coming on strong, then kind of fizzled out, and it's getting towards the end of the season, so we're starting to see our typical Pirates of kind of petering out. But hey, you know, anything's possible, so we'll see what happens.
All right. Are you jamming or cramming Gregory Polanco as a prospect? I mean, that's a dumb question, Nick. But, you know, come on, I'm in Pittsburgh having a good time.
Well, you know, as a Pirate fan, I have to say jam, you know. Does he meet my expectations of what I thought he would be? No, but
why not?
Well, he's a rookie. Still a lot of seasoning he has to go through, I think.
A lot of seasoning. Like, I bet you the food here has been really good. I bet you they put really good seasoning on the food here. How'd you like that Primanti Brothers sandwich today?
It was packed full of yummy goodness.
Seriously. Like, if you haven't had this, guys, it's like 2 slices of, like, soft Italian bread, coleslaw, cold cuts. They put French fries right in it. I mean, it's spectacular. I mean, is that like a Pittsburgh tradition? Obviously, a Pittsburgh tradition, but is that the one thing? Because I know, you know, Hardhead was on before. He kind of gave me a hard time. He said, no, you can't do this all in one day. But I mean, if you got one day in Pittsburgh, Primanti Brothers?
Primanti Brothers.
Am I saying it wrong?
Well, that's you, and that's your Canadianness coming out, I think.
I'm now a happily, I guess I'm still Canadian. All right,
You had Permanis, so now you are officially a Pittsburgher.
Pittsburgher, I'm in. Okay, so speaking of Pittsburgh, we're going to talk Pittsburgh Steelers in just a couple minutes. But what's your take right now on how they're going to do this year in this division? I mean, every year it seems like every few years they kind of go through a cycle. Even when Cowher was here, where they have like a 5-11 season, they're kind of up and down. Go through that team and see how many names you know on defense. This is not the 1990 Steelers. How do you think the Steelers are going to do this year?
I still think they're going to be decent. I got them winning the division, to be honest with you. I think they're probably going to win the division, go 10-6. The other two teams in the division, the Ravens and the Bengals, will probably be 9-7, 8-8, probably battling for one other spot. But I think the Steelers are going to have enough offense and enough defense that their offense will probably be in the top 10 because of the weapons that they have with Bell and Antonio Brown. Ben Roethlisberger is a very underrated fantasy quarterback and real-life quarterback. And
the line's back and healthy.
That's true. He'd actually have somebody blocking for him. The guys there that actually come back from the sit last year, so they have some veteran presence there. I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay. Just for the record, I know you are a born and raised Pittsburgh girl. How the HE double hockey sticks? Are you a Red Sox fan? Are you at least a Penguins fan?
I am not a Penguins fan.
You need to go. You need to get out of the shot right now. No pay. Is it safe for you to walk around this city rooting for the Bruins and the Red Sox?
Well, yeah. Obviously, it's worked so far, and I got Hardhead in my corner, so that kind of helps a little bit too.
He looks like a fixer. Just for the record, whenever we do a random road trip, I think Pittsburgh has to be on top of the list, and I think Hardhead is actually going to be our fixer. Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're still going to go into Jerome Bettis Grill 36 here in Pittsburgh. It's right across from Heinz Field and right in PNC Park. It's like squished in, perfect, just like that squishy, delicious Permani Brothers sandwich. But we're also going to talk Steelers in a couple of minutes. Going to do the Pittsburgh Steelers report. This is Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network. We'll be back right after this from Pittsburgh, right by the bridge.
I was never one for traditional dating, which is why I like to meet guys on ArrangementFinders.com. Arrangement Finders puts a twist on dating that works so well, they guarantee you'll find a girl. That's right, guarantee. Sounds too good to be true? Check out these girls on ArrangementFinders.com who are looking to date. She's hot. She's hot. Okay, her, not so much. Anyway, it's free to join. Go to Arrangement Finders and meet girls like me who know what you really want.
Welcome back, Razzball Radio Fantasy Sports Network. I'm here with my man, Rob Langevin, a.k.a. Smokey _Loogie, because he's the Loogie out of the pen. You know what? We might actually go look at the bullpen here at PNC Park because we are in Pittsburgh, and this is a wicked city. Lots of NFL news to talk about, though. Let's start off right at the top. Sam Bradford busts up his knee. This is bad news because without Sam Bradford, this team is in a lot of trouble. You can knock Sam Bradford all you want, but without him, they are up a river or three rivers maybe if you're talking Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he had sleeper appeal coming into this season, and that's pretty much gone, as well as some of the sleeper appeal that's associated with Tavon Austin. I just don't see their offense clicking with who was announced. Sean Hill is basically their starting quarterback option there now. He's basically a grizzled veteran. He showed some life with the Lions a couple years ago, but he's nothing more than a dink and dunk option there.
And this is going to devalue Zach Stacy because now forget 8 in the box. He might see like 13 in the box.
Yeah.
Canadian football style.
Yeah. I could definitely see Stacy's value probably dropping to the end of the second round, maybe early third, which is probably about where he is now if you were smartly drafting him anyway. So he's probably slipping even to the mid-third round now.
And there was a little bit of buzz because he didn't start yesterday. Benny Cunningham got the start. But I really think, if Bradford really isn't there, they are going to be in a lot of trouble, especially, too, because they've got their first 4 games, and I believe they have the bye week. And then after the bye week, it gets messy. They got to take on all their NFC West opponents. So it might be a bad start for the St. Louis Rams. Put a nickel on it right now for them to maybe finish worse. And that defense, too, they're dealing with some injuries now, so it was a sleeper defense, but that's going to be a lot of trouble. Unfortunately, another injury, too, as well. Hate to see Wes Welker have another concussion, but I've been saying all preseason you can't draft this guy because of the concussion problems.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been on anybody's draft list just because of the injury history. His injury opens up the door for guys that are deep on the depth chart that probably weren't even draftable yet. Andre Caldwell's and the Corey Latimers. And it's basically in the next 7 days, I probably see Emmanuel Sanders' value probably jumping up 10 to 15 spots.
Especially after the game he had the other day. Emmanuel Sanders went absolutely bananas. I mean, what do you think he could do this year? What are you projecting?
I was always a fan of Sanders. Even with the Steelers and Big Ben throwing him the ball, he had a great underrated year last year. Now that he's got Peyton throwing the ball, I mean, you could probably put Eric Decker's numbers for his numbers this year.
Well, I had those already, but I think they bump up. Now, if Welker is, and listen, too, guys, with concussions, I mean, Welker might be done. So I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying it is something you do have to potentially consider. I'm thinking that maybe 1,200, maybe 1,250, maybe even 1,300 yards, 8 to 10 touchdowns. Man, he could be really relevant real soon.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be an immediate impact. He was going in the 8th round. I could probably see him in the 6th round now as a wide receiver, too, as a definite. Because Denver's going to keep feeding and passing the ball a lot.
Absolutely. And Matt Prater, unfortunately, got suspended 4 games. He was probably the top kicker we saw going off the board on the 32 and 32 and 32. 4 games for an alcohol violation, substance abuse policy issue. Apparently, they were actually going to ban him for the full season until his lawyer got involved. It's a bit of a, obviously, hopefully Matt Prater can get it together, but that's disappointing if you've drafted him. But now, if you're going to let him go, he might be a guy after their bye week when he's back from the suspension who could be a sneaky pickup.
Oh, definitely. With kickers, you don't ever have to draft 2 or roster 2. So, you have to wait till week 5 or be the first guy in week 3 to pick him up. And then, keep your fingers crossed that he's actually going to be able to do something when he comes back. I don't see it affecting him that much, but he's definitely not a rosterable option right now for the first 4 games.
Okay, Kelsey, the tight end in Kansas City, a little bit of a buzzy pick coming into the year. He went banana. Well, he didn't go bananas, but he did pretty good. They're getting him the ball, and I think that's going to consistently happen. This is a guy we've seen maybe drafted about 20% of the drafts that we're doing. Buzzy pick?
Very buzzy pick. Tight ends, it's a very buzzy pick anyway, because once you get the top maybe 8 to 10 tight ends off the board, it's pretty much a reach anyway. And then you're stuck with like the Eric Ebrons or the Eiferts or the Kelses. And, Kels is showing out very well, and Alex Smith is a very smart quarterback, so I see him actually getting the ball. In the preseason, he's got 10 touchdowns for like 135 yards and a touchdown already. He's probably got some low-end tight end appeal now, but he's probably, by like the first 2 games, I'd pay attention to see how he's doing. And if he's doing well in those games, you're probably going to add him because you probably only draft 1 tight end half the times. So if you're somebody you drafted gets hurt or is this inadequate for a roster spot, he's definitely somebody you're going to want to have to fill in.
Yeah, absolutely. Another guy, too, that's been going probably higher than I think both you and I like is Bishop Sankey. He's been running with the 2nd and 3rd stringers. What's the deal there? I mean, Green is not good. They only got McCluster. I mean, are they just trying to send a message?
Yeah, I've been drafting Green in a couple deeper leagues I've been in, only because I trust him more than anybody else that Tennessee has. I mean, McCluster is your PPR option there, and he's definitely the guy you want out of anybody out of the backfield. But the interesting thing I don't like about Sankey is he's had 0 snaps with their starting QB, Jake Locker, this preseason. 0.
Okay, Joe Philbin, who, according to Vegas, is the 3rd most likeliest head coach to be fired to start the year, is saying that the running back situation in Miami is unsettled at the moment. I mean, if you're a gambler, man, what's up, Pittsburgh? If you're a gambler, man, you talk Lamar Miller, no Sean Marino, what's the story there? Because I like Miller. Yeah. I shouldn't say that in Pittsburgh. I like Iron City beer, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Miller's definitely got some sleeper appeal. I mean, the Dolphins, their offense is probably going to be middle of the pack. But Tannehill is a decent option at quarterback. He's probably like a top QB2 guy that you'd probably take. Miller's got some great sneaky appeal. He can catch the ball. He can run between the tackles. I mean, right now I'd probably put him right at about 1,000 yards and maybe like 6 to 8 total touchdowns. I mean, the Dolphins are probably going to score most of their touchdowns through the air only because their offensive line is just in shambles.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, more news. Monty Ball obviously came back after the appendectomy, got into the game, touched the ball, ran it, caught it. It's going to be interesting. If he's able to catch a lot of balls and he's already back in preseason, the concern was he might not be back until week 1. But if he's actually getting playing time now, getting back into game shape, resting up those abdominal muscles, are you kind of back up on him? Because we've seen him fall about a round since the appendectomy.
Yes, since we started drafting on the tour, he's been going in like mid-second round. And then I think the draft last night in Buffalo, he went at the end of the first round, if I'm not mistaken. And, people are in tune with the news. If he can play and he shows what he's doing, Denver's going to score a ton of points this year. I know even with people projecting Manning to have a regression, they might run the ball more. They might be up a ton on a lot of teams this year. Their schedule is decently weaker because the teams that they're playing from.
Is that a proper term, decently weaker?
It's better than weakest or weakier, maybe weakier. like Wikipedia.
We should wiki that.
Yeah, wiki it. Urban Dictionary it.
Also, St. Louis Rams defensive end, real quick here. Michael Sam sacked Johnny Football. He did. That's it. He did the sign. You think Michael Sam's going to make the team?
Yeah, he's definitely going to be like a situational pass rusher.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I could see him fitting into that situation. St. Louis is going to rush the passer a lot. You know, their defensive line is arguably one of the best in football with Brockers and Quinn and Long. You know, they've got Jolon Dunbar in the middle. They also just lost their starting left cornerback, Tremaine Johnson, to a knee injury. So that may affect them a little bit also, but they're good at getting after the quarterback.
All right, good stuff. Okay, so guys, when you're playing daily fantasy, you want to do it at DraftKings.com. We're going to be playing every Sunday, you and I, buddy. And, guy, if you want to play with us, you can do that. Enter promo code Razzball when signing up to get a first-time deposit match and an entry into one of – there you go. There's the Johnny Manziel. I wonder what they think about Johnny Manziel here in Pittsburgh. What do you think, yay or nay?
I know what finger they'd give him. I know that for sure.
Hey, Pittsburgh fans, what do you think of Johnny Manziel? No, we're getting boos here. Okay, Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network. We'll be right back.
I was never one for traditional dating, which is why I like to meet guys on ArrangementFinders.com. Arrangement Finders puts a twist on dating that works so well, they guarantee you'll find a girl. That's right, guarantee. Sounds too good to be true? Check out these girls on ArrangementFinders.com who are looking to date. She's hot. She's hot. Okay, her, not so much. Anyway, it's free to join. Go to Arrangement Finders and meet girls like me who know what you really want.
Welcome back, Razzball Radio Fantasy Sports Network. We are at Jerome Bettis' Grill. I should get that right because he's a Pittsburgh institution, as is Neal Coolong from behind the steel curtain. Neal, thanks for coming hanging out with us today, giving us a Steelers report. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Man, I'm fantastic because I'm in Pittsburgh, and this might be one of my new favorite cities in the U.S. This in Denver, because I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I wonder if I can get that, if I can buy the rights to that for the theme song for the show. Okay, we're going to talk some Pittsburgh Steelers from a fantasy perspective, but of course, you do the hardcore stuff. You can follow him on Twitter at Neal, Neal Coolong, Coolong. Did I get that right?
You did.
Hey, it's my lucky day. Okay, so let's talk first quarterback. Obviously, Big Ben Roethlisberger going right now somewhere around the 13th, 14th quarterback off the board. When he's healthy, he's really good. What's your take on him this year? How do you think he's going to perform?
I think the big thing with him is he's going to have the autonomy to run a lot more of the no-huddle offense that we saw this team doing roughly the start of the second half last year, and you saw them score a lot more points, and a big part of that was because of Roethlisberger and the ability that he has, the weapons that he has, but more than anything, the continuity of the offensive line really came together to a point where he could largely dictate what he wanted to do out on the field, and you saw a lot of success from it. I don't think that he's necessarily a starting quarterback in fantasy, but he's not a backup guy to have, and he might be a guy that you want to pick up in the first couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, again, if they really do go with this no huddle, which they've been talking about, with the line healthy, right? Because it hasn't been healthy the last couple of years. It's been on and off, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've had injuries up and down. I mean, 4 or 5 different tackles the last 3 seasons. With that lack of continuity, bringing different guys in all the time like that, it's really hard to get anything going offensively. And I think that more than anything has contributed to something of a downswing of his numbers compared to what they could be on the high end.
All right, let's talk about zigzags right now. I mean, running backs right now with LeGarrette Blount and Le'Veon Bell. Okay, so listen, I got no problem with what they're doing. That's their grown men. They can do what they want to do. But how's this running backfield going to shape out? Okay, let me actually start with possible suspensions. What's the buzz around Pittsburgh of what might happen to those guys who, of course, got busted the other day for having some herb?
For the most part, I think the big thing with the suspensions is really looking at the precedent and what we've seen. We saw Dwayne Bowe get suspended a year after he was arrested for the same thing. As far as Blount goes, I'm not even sure if he's going to get one. I mean, there are a lot of things that are going to come with that, and the legal system will play a lot of it out. Bell's situation is a little bit differently, and he's probably the higher-end fantasy running back on the Steelers. And his situation being that he had a DUI plus possession, there might be something to that. But at the same time, the word is they're going to fight it. There are some issues that they're still trying to work out as far as what the police report was. So I don't know if we can say right now week 1 or week 2 is really on the board as far as suspension for either one of them goes.
Yeah, plus they'd probably appeal. We even theorized the other day, actually last night in Buffalo, maybe what they would do is, appeal it at kind of different times or let one guy take the hit so that they're not without a running back. But let's assume, just for example, or for argument's sake, that they're going to play 16 games each this year. 17 games. Sorry, I'm totally locked in. No, 16. Man, It's been a lot. This is my 25th day on the road, Neal. I am barely able to stand up. Okay, Le'Veon Bell looked like a stud last year. Is he a stud? And what's the deal with Blunt coming in and maybe vulturing some of those goal line carries?
I think what you could really see between the two of them is something of a 50-50 split. I think Blunt right now, just being that he has a lot more experience, is probably the better running back overall. But Bell has a lot of high side. And
really? You really think Blunt is the better running back overall?
I think from a technique perspective, you see he has probably a little bit better vision. He has great acceleration. You'll see him hit the hole a lot harder than Bell will. Bell's kind of a slasher. He looks to zig and zag, no pun intended, up the field at every opportunity that he gets. So for the most part, I could see them being on a per carry basis very equal. But overall, Bell's going to be the better player largely because he has receptions to work into that as well.
Be a lot of jokes here if Blunt had gone to Philly instead and he was a Philly Blunt. But anyway, okay, what about Archer? A lot of buzz around Archer. This guy had a 4.24 40 at the combine. How are they going to use him this year? Because I think technically he is a running back.
However it is they want to describe him, what they're really going to do with him is get him the ball in space. And we saw that in the preseason a couple times. Quick little screen passes, quick little gives out of the backfield. He's a weapon guy. He's a matchup guy. I don't expect him to get more than 5, 6, 7 touches a game, but he's electric when he gets the ball. He can be the kind of guy that'll have 5 touches and 106 yards and a touchdown. So he's a sneaky guy to look for.
Yeah, especially in Dynasty Leagues, guys, go out and pick up Archer. Okay, let's talk wide receivers. Antonio Brown was phenomenal last year. He's a PPR monster. Can he do it again, or was last year just kind of circumstance?
I think probably a little bit of both. I mean, for the most part, Antonio Brown is probably the best receiver in the NFL in and out of his breaks. He's very fast, very fluid, and Roethlisberger knows that. He's going to get him the ball pretty much as often as he can.
Because he's so great at creating separation.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, knowing that it's really hard to get a guy a ball more than 110 times a season the way that they did. But I could see him being a 160 touch guy or target guy again this year.
Unbelievable. Okay, who else we got here wide receiver-wise that is going to have some value?
One guy to look at will be Marcus Wheaton, and he's a guy that Roethlisberger's really tried to target in their first 3 preseason games to try to develop a similar chemistry to what he and Brown have. And Wheaton has looked 10 times better this year than his rookie year last year. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has something around what Emmanuel Sanders had in this offense last year, 65 catches, 1,000 yards.
Okay, so Heath Miller seems like he's been here forever, and he kind of has, but he's steady. And when he's healthy and he's on the field, Big Ben does a much better job. What's the deal with the tight ends here in Pittsburgh?
I think you got 2 very well-rounded ones in Matt Spaeth and Heath Miller. But the thing with Miller really is going to be the health, like you mentioned. I mean, he's going to have to get back to the form that he was at in 2012 under Todd Haley, the new offensive coordinator at that point. He was a Pro Bowl player. He had 75 catches or something like that. Very, very high-end guy if he's going, and he's looked pretty good so far.
Okay, so my sugar daddy, brought to you by ArrangementFinders.com. The Pittsburgh Steeler that I believe is going to grossly outperform their ADB is actually the Primani brother sandwich. I think that's who's going to know. You know what? I'm going to go. This is a tough one. I want to say Bell, but Bell's going maybe even a smidge high. Antonio Brown is right where he should be. I don't want to say I'm not buying Wheaton. I'm kind of tough here. I'll ask you real quick. What Steeler's going to grossly outperform their average draft position?
I want to say that, if anything, it'd be Bell, just because I think he's the one that will probably be drafted around that mid to second round. And I think he can be a first-round caliber guy. I really say that simply because he's going to get the ball a lot. I mean, he was averaging over 20 touches a game at the end of last year, and that was the big reason why that the offense had as much success as they did. If he can stay consistent, he's going to be a big producer this year.
Neal Coolong, ladies and gentlemen, Steeler Nation, you are all over the country. Follow this guy behind the steelcurtain.com. Okay, this has been Razzball Radio. We're going to go in and draft Razzball Radio Fantasy Sports Network. Tomorrow we're going to Believe Land. We're going to go talk to LeBron James. Not really. We're going to go talk Cleveland Browns at the Winking Lizard in Lakewood. Come on and hang with us. Razzball Radio Fantasy Sports Network. See you tomorrow from Believe Land. I'm eating pierogies in Cleveland tomorrow.